the Opupco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell, and we're brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. You can go online right now and order your pizza at papajohns.com. And you might want to do that because we've got college football aplenty this week, Barry. And the 5 and 5 gets right to it with some questions about these openers for the local teams. Finish this sentence, Barry. OSU could upset Florida State if
the Cowboys can score and score a bunch. If they can take that offense that always hits high gear in midseason and on down through the year, if they can get to that point early, Florida State's going to score on OSU. It's just a fact. The Seminoles have a great offense. OSU's rebuilding the defense. Cowboys aren't likely to hold Florida State under 30 points, and it could get into the 40s easily. OSU has got to keep up. They've got to score. They're going to have to, J.W. Walsh is going to have to move the ball, get in the end zone early and often. And if that happens, well, then you got to shoot out and things could happen.
Well, and you wrote about this, Barry, in the Wednesday Oklahoman and on News OK. You can check out what Barry had to say there. But, you know, I think it's easy to want to shorten the game against Florida State and say, well, we don't want to give them too many possessions. But that's not OSU's strength. Their strength is getting out there and snapping it quick and moving and going up tempo. And so I think if you're inclined to think shorten the game, you could get yourself in trouble. Because I'm with you. Florida State's going to score. That's their strength going against OSU's rebuilding defense. And I think OSU's got to try to match them wit for wit. Or as you wrote, like last year, there were some games that Florida State got up 25 or 28-0, 35-0. It can happen fast. OSU's got to try to keep up. All right, Barry, what about this? OU could lose to Virginia Tech.
They could lose to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But Louisiana Tech, La Tech, who they'll open against
if Trevor Knight plays poorly early and then gets hurt. Now, if he plays poor early and doesn't get hurt, I still don't think OU could lose. It's still going to find ways to score points. But if OU doesn't score much early and then Trevor Knight gets hurt and they got to do something different, either put Blake Bell at quarterback or bring one of the young guys in, the offense could stagnate. It could be problematic. Then funny things could happen. But otherwise, I don't see it. I think the Sooners would have to have basically a full game of ineffective quarterback play. I don't see that unless Trevor Knight gets hurt.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be an offensive failing for Oklahoma to lose to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech.
You got them playing. I wish they were playing Virginia Tech.
I got the Hokies and Frank Beamer on the brain. I don't know where this came from.
It wouldn't be on pay-per-view, I promise you, if they were playing Virginia Tech.
Get on that, Joe Castiglione. But I tell you, I think Oklahoma's defense is going to be just fine. Yeah, they've got some areas of concern. Linebacker depth is a bit questionable behind Jordan Evans. You're breaking in some new guys in the secondary. But I think the strength of this team is on defense. So what's the offense going to do? You're going to have running backs that are largely unproven. They're going to be playing for the first time. A wide receiver core that is trotting out some guys that, frankly, we haven't seen play before. So to me, it's going to have to be that OU offense that's going to have to struggle for OU to lose to Louisiana Tech. I don't think it happens. Maybe I'll get Louisiana Tech right in the paper by the time the game's over. All right, here we go. One more. The player we'll all be buzzing about after the openers is?
I'm going to say Tyreek Hill, the OSU JUCO transfer, a speedster. If you read John Helsley's story this week, you know Tyreek Hill's 200-meter time is world class. It would have placed him in the Olympic final. So, of course, you don't run 200 meters in football, but the guy is incredibly quick. OSU's going to do all it can to get him the ball all over the field, running back, slot, wide receiver. I think kick returning. I think you'll see Tyreek Hill all over the field. There's a chance that he will give Florida State all kinds of problems. I think we'll be buzzing about him after the game.
I think Tyreek Hill will have a lot of people buzzing. I also think Keith Ford is going to have people buzzing. Now, I mean, Trevor Knight may have a fantastic game, and people will be talking about, hey, this is the Trevor Knight we expect to see game in and game out. But I think Keith Ford is a special talent. He got into the doghouse a little bit last year with some fumbling issues, had to reprove himself that he's able to take care of the ball. But if he does take care of the ball, I think his skills will stand out. I think we could see a big game out of him. I'm going with Keith Ford. All right, Barry, fun question of the week. Hey, I forgot to ring the bell. Speaking of rings, how will you ring in the return of college football? It happens on Thursday night, Barry.
It's one of my favorite days of the year. It's one of the underrated holidays of the sports calendar where we celebrate the baseball opening day. Around here we get all fired up about the opening of NBA, NFL season. is a national holiday with that Thursday night game. But the college football opener on the Thursday night, and anymore, we've got several good games, 4, 5, 6 good games. Always one of my favorite days. I am going to carve out the day to where I don't have to do anything after 5 o'clock.
Nobody call the Trammels.
Well, you can call, but it'll be iffy on if you'll get an answer. Something momentous happened in my life over the weekend. My mother taught me how to fry okra. I've been eating her fried okra all my life, 53 years. It's fantastic. She finally got around to teaching me, primarily because I asked her. And it was fantastic. I made a great mess of okra. I got some more good okra from a friend's garden. I'm going to fry up some okra, eat some sliced tomato, watch Boise State and Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and South Carolina, and whoever else is on Thursday night.
Well, I don't think I'm calling you. I think I'm just coming over.
Come on over.
I
got sick yesterday. I had a bunch of leftover okra. I ate too much, so I don't need to eat it all.
On that note, how else can we ring in the return of football? All right, Barry, we got one more question, and it's not college football, but is related to our local scene. And Sam Bradford, after he tore his knee again, is Sam Bradford a bust?
I'm afraid he is. And you know what? He played okay. Not great. But he played okay when he was able to play for the Rams these previous 4 years. But now 2 straight season-ending injuries, and the Rams clearly are going to have to go a different direction at quarterback. They've invested so much money in him, gotten very little out of it. I think, if Sam Bradford had been picked 19th in the first round or a second round, fourth round, not a bust. But when you're the number 1 overall pick, I'm afraid you're a bust.
And he's the last of those bonus babies. Nobody is going to approach the signing bonus and the guaranteed money that Sam Bradford did as the first pick, and it just hasn't played out. He was Rookie of the Year on a not very good Rams team as a rookie in the NFL. And I think that spoke to the promise that was out there. Then he has a high ankle sprain that he plays through, but is pretty ineffective that next year, and now knee, and it's just really hard to wrap your head around. I think it's unfortunate that that his career has been derailed by injury. He can rewrite this. He can make himself not a bust, but it's going to be hard. I mean, we saw Jason White struggle through knee injuries like this and was never really the same guy. He was still good, but he was never what he could have been. So I think it's going to be tough for Sam Bradford. Clearly he's a talent, but he's going to have to rewrite the chapter because right now it's sitting on bust. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.